Hi everyone, it's Ardith, and today I'm hosting a video hop to celebrate reaching 3,000 subscribers here on YouTube. To say thank you, I've got about 20 of my friends joining me who've also made videos, some of them for the very first time. And there are very generous sponsors and lots of prizes to be won. Be sure to do the whole hop and comment on every stop. There are prizes on each channel and some extras selected randomly from all the comments on the hop. So the more commenting you do, the better your chance of winning. The link to the next video is at the top of my video description below. You know I'm on a number of design teams and that generally when I make a card, I'm showing some specific products from one of the companies. Well, I thought it would be fun to mix it up a bit and see how well products from these different companies play together. Spoiler alert, they did very, very well. To start, I used a curved border die from a Jillian Vance design to create a kind of swoopy triangle shape by cutting it twice, making sure that the ends met on one side. I'm going to use this as my mask and preserve some white space on my panel. I coated the back of the mask with some repositionable adhesive and I stuck it in place kind of in the center of my panel. Then I started my ink blending. The colors I used are not typical of a night sky, but they are one of my favorite color combinations of Catherine Pooler inks. Limoncello, Tiki Torch, Coral Cabana, and Party Dress. I used life-changing blender brushes and I went in with quite a heavy hand. When I do that, my blending often looks splotchy at first, but this ink always smooths out and gives beautiful results. Adding orange and coral really just makes it easier to get a smooth blend between the bright yellow and the deep pink. Generally, the more colors you use, the more natural your blend will look, because it's easier to get a smooth blend between two colors that are close to each other. When I had the full panel blended, I laid down the new Stars stencil from Pretty Pink Posh over top of the blending and I taped it down with some post-it tape to hold it in place. Then I went back over it with the same colors. This gives a really rich tone-on-tone look, and layering the inking up like this is a great alternative to just using the stencil on its own. Now, as it turns out, because of my next step, I probably didn't even really need to do this because the extra color kind of disappeared. I just got this new sparkle spray from Nuvo, and I thought it would be a really fun way to add some shine to the stars. I left the panel and stencil in place on my water media mat, and I shook it up before spritzing it over the whole panel. It was my first time using it, so I gave it some pretty good coverage. So good it became almost opaque, which is why I said that doing that extra color through the stencil may not have been necessary. Anyway, when I peeled off the stencil and the mask, you can see that shine. It's really amazing. And you can see my little pink fingerprint, but that's what I get for rushing. I'm going to trim the panel so that it won't be there in the final card. Next, I want to show you how easy it is to clean off this mat. It's silicone, so a baby wipe gets pretty much everything off it easily. Last week, I left re-inkers in the little palette wells overnight, and it all came off with only a slight blue tinge left in a couple of them. But you can roll this up and throw it in a sink of soapy water really easily. And then, because there was so much prettiness left on the stencil itself, I got out another panel and I started another card by laying the stencil face down and rubbing over it to transfer all the ink and the sparkle spray. This background is going to be the basis of the other video I'm doing for the hop on the Pretty Pink Posh channel, so it'll look familiar when you get there. I moved on to stamping the spaceship and flame from the new Space Out stamp set from Essentials by Ellen. I used my mini MISTI and Gina K Obsidian ink, which is crisp and very dark black. It takes a second to dry, but then you can use it with any medium you want. I colored with my Copic markers, and I picked up similar colors to my background, pinks, yellows, and oranges. I colored everything very quickly with minimal shading. I used toner grays for the body of the spaceship, and I did a bit of shading to create some rounded dimension by adding darker tones around the edges and under the window. But oh my goodness, my lightest shade was dry and needed desperately to be re-inked. I don't know if you can see the nib of the marker, but it was white and no color was coming out. In my desperation, I flipped the marker over and I used the chisel tip to try and get every last bit of ink out of it to get this done. In the end, I went over the whole spaceship with a C3 just to smooth it out. Next, I used a full back sticky note to create a negative mask for the window of the spaceship. You could jab scissors through the center, but I just cut in from the edge. Since the back of the paper is sticky, having that cut won't cause a problem, as long as I make sure it's pressed down and the two sides are together. I put the mask in place and I grabbed the new little bear from Ware 4. He's the perfect size to fit in the window. I stamped him with the Obsidian ink, and when it was dry, I colored him with a warm gray marker. Now for my countdown. I used the new headline numbers dies from a Jillian Vance design, and I cut 3 sets of 3, 2, 1 from black cardstock. This is a great way to use up scraps of cardstock. I keep all my leftover strips next to my Gemini Junior for when I need to do something like this. I grabbed another color of sparkle spray, Morning Fog, and I gave 1 set of the numbers a spritz. This time I just spritzed a couple of times, so there's more texture in the coverage, but man, it still really sparkles. Once they were completely dry, I used Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive liquid glue to stack them up. Thank you to viewers who told me about Christina's tip for not having glue squishing out all over the place. Now I swipe the glued side onto the scrap paper, and then I put the number together. I worked through all those numbers, and then I added some foam tape to the back of the spaceship. I like to use quite a bit of foam tape and match it to the shape of the die cut as well as I can, so that it's fully supported and doesn't get warped in the mail. Then I used my Make Art station to help me line up the die cuts. This metal platform with its grid and magnetic ruler makes lining things up a snap. I used the same Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue the countdown to the side of the panel. Then I got my mini MISTI back out and I grabbed one of the sentiments from the Space Out set. Look at you take off. I stamped it in the white space with the Obsidian ink. To finish the card, I put the panel on a white card base and I added some Nuvo glitter drops to the flames. It was a real treat for me to play with all these different products to make this happy card. I love those shimmery stars and all the glitter and texture here. Now remember to use the link below and go to the next video. Each video will have the link to the next one, so be sure to do the whole hop and comment on every stop for your best chance to win. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel for more inspiration. Shopping links are below in the description and also on my blog. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.